Ladies and gentlemen, let's now put our focus on some political developments, particularly coming in from poll-bound Bihar. In fact, ahead of the assembly polls, Bihar CM Nitish Kumar has made a major announcement, and that is expected to benefit, he says, at least over 1 crore people in the state. Nitish Kumar has increased pension under the Social Security scheme, announcing it, he said, and I quote, all old age people, differently abled individuals and widowed women will now receive a pension of 1,100 rupees per month instead of the previous 400 rupees. However, the opposition RJD and Congress have hit out at Kumar. They've called his pension scheme announcement a copycat move, and they've said that the people of Bihar, they understand Nitish's real motive. The move by Nitish Kumar, remember, follows a similar pattern which has been followed in other states where welfare schemes are announced just before polls. So will Nitish Kumar's latest pension announcement and that gambit help him get back in power? We discussed that topic with our guests tonight. Joining us live on the broadcast is Ms. Neerja Chowdhury, journalist and political commentator, and Madhavan Narayanan, who's also a senior journalist. Thank you very much, ma'am and sir, for joining us here on 80 Now. First, let me come to you, Ms. Chowdhury. Now, Nitish Kumar's 1,100 rupee pension announcement, that definitely comes close on the heels of Tejasvi Yadav's 1,500 rupees promise. Do you see this as a genuine policy move or a tactical response to a shifting political narrative in the state?
Well, this is with the election now around the corner, few months away, year end. This is competitive politics at play, competitive populism at play, and completely to be expected. Yes, Tejasvi Yadav had talked about 1,500 per month, and Prashant Kishore also had talked about raising it to 2,000. And Nitish Kumar has said from the present 400 rupees, he will raise it to 1,100. So yes, and these are very important categories that he is talking about. The senior citizen, the disabled, the differently abled, and widows. They form a good chunk of his vote base, because Nitish Kumar, what he brings to the table, to whichever party he joins hands with, whether it's RJD, which is where he was in the Mahagathbandhan earlier, or now the BJP, what he brings to the table is the support of the Kurmi, Koiri, the OBC, and then the extremely backward amongst the OBCs, the Mahadalits, and the Pasmanda Muslims. So he is making a bid to reach out to them through this move. And as you said yourself, it's more than 1 crore people who are going to benefit, as also it's going to be, the outlay is going to be, I think, around just under 1,000 crores. So I think if you look at it from the point of view, is it a freebie? I don't personally like that word at all. But if your system development model has not delivered to people a life of dignity that they still need 400 rupees a month, then, at election time, if they say, okay, I give you my vote and you must give me additional something, it is
Right.
to be it is quite understandable. So I think that whole thing of freebies, we need to look at again in a wider context of what it is delivered to the poorer and the marginalized of society.
Ma'am, agreed. We need to look at freebies in a wider context, and of course, there needs to be some context. But however, the timing of this move, that is what is making us raise these questions, because you had all of these years. You could have done these development measures, and if you really wanted to cater to that community, and let me take that question to you, Mr. Narayanan, would you say that Nitish Kumar is playing catch-up to Tejasvi in the overall narrative? How are you seeing the narrative unfold in the state, given the fact that Tejasvi also set the bar higher at 1,500 rupees?
Yeah, I think Neerja Chowdhury has already explained the situation well. But let me add some layers of political realism with particular reference to Bihar to get the big picture, which is that if you look at it carefully, there are two issues at play. One is that minor caste parties are increasingly getting empowered in Indian politics in general, and particularly in Bihar or maybe Tamil Nadu. So if you look at the people who were formerly called Dalits are now divided between Dalits and Mahadalits. Similarly, Muslims are no longer considered a block vote. There is something called the Pasmanda or backward Muslims. Okay. Then you have within, if you look at the fact that Devendra Prasad Yadav, who used to be an MP in part of Lalu Prasad's camp, is now a leader of the Suraj party started by Prashant Kishore. So and then Chirag Paswan, who's supposed to be part of NDA, is actually not simply towing the BJP line and has an identity of his own. So in such a context, what is happening is that economic factors are being used to cement ties where the caste is no longer easily available like a wholesale trade. It's ultimately, I've always regarded over the past years that the vote is actually a transactional financial instrument in India. To answer your question, there are, if development schemes are implemented well before the elections, some of the schemes may be done, for instance, jobs-oriented schemes and things like that. But it's a fact, that marketing is also an important aspect of the political game. Increasingly, it's beginning to resemble a consumer goods market where, just as there is a, Holi sale or a Diwali sale in business, there is an election-oriented spending that takes place. And last but not the least, this will help a certain amount of catch-up, which you mentioned, because the catch-up is about how all parties are now increasingly 80% of the agenda have begun to overlap.
Yes.
Because some of the old bets are off. Simplistic, even the communal card or the Muslim card or the Hindu card, all these cards are running out of their sell-by date is approaching, or if not already approached. And therefore, economic populism is the name of the game.
Okay. Absolutely. And this is something, Mr. Narayanan, that we've seen in the past few elections as well, most recently in the Maharashtra elections. But my question to you, if you could quickly answer that, who do you think seems to be having an edge as of now in Bihar and, of course, ahead of that upcoming assembly election?
Are you asking me that?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. No. She's asking me, but I didn't get the question. There was a call.
I'm asking Madhavan, sir, and ma'am, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I was asking you, who do you think seems to be having an edge as of now? Ma'am, let me take that question to Ms. Chowdhury, given the fact that, Sir's line seems to be having an issue. Sir, if you could please fix that, we'll come to you. Ma'am, who do you think seems to be having an edge as of now when you see, of course, Nitish Kumar on one side and, of course, the principal opposition on the other side?
Look, very difficult to say that at this stage, who has an edge. Of course, Nitish Kumar is fighting anti-incumbency. The BJP hopes to gain. They're keeping him as their face because, if they rock the boat at this time, he has indifferent health. His health has not been very good, and that's an open secret in Bihar. But if they change him and rock the boat, you don't know where the game will go. Because Tejasvi Yadav and the Congress are not weak. They are not a weak opposition at all. And they will make a bid this time for power. Much will also depend on what Prashant Kishore does and how much of the vote does he cut of Tejasvi Yadav, MY, relying on MY. Or how much of vote does he cut off the BJP? Because his slogan has been politics beyond caste and community or caste and religion. And that kind of a slogan in a state like Bihar and UP has an appeal for the upper caste and the middle classes. Therefore, does that mean the upper caste and the middle classes have essentially been with the BJP and the NDA group? So does he cut into their vote? So much will depend. And then, of course, the micromanagement of fielding candidates in that many constituencies and their caste and their community. All this is going to matter because many people feel that the Bihar elections this time is going to be a hyper-local election.
A hyper-local election is essentially what you're, projecting this year's election to be. And let me come to you, Mr. Narayanan. Now, if both alliances are racing to outdo each other on pension figures, and you mentioned that, the momentum around religion is sort of fading in, which is why, of course, parties are giving out these financial incentives, fiscal incentives. So who do you think at the moment, I know that there is a lot of time before assembly elections take place, but at the moment, who do you think really seems to be ahead when it comes to agenda setting, and who do you think is simply reacting?
Let me tell you very clearly that, in my opinion, Tejasvi Yadav is setting the agenda. Not only because of the platform on unemployment, as well as reservation and caste census, as well as the other things you discussed, pension schemes and like that. He's also a very good orator. And he has the entire Yadav community and a certain organizational muscle. And in Bihar, BJP's famous organizational muscle is missing, because Amit Shah's famous RSS BJP machine is substantially reduced in Bihar, and therefore they have to piggyback on some of the populist schemes, some of the schemes announced by the central government as part of the coalition romance that is there between Nitish Kumar and Mr. Modi's BJP. So therefore, to that extent, there's an anti-incumbency factor plus the Tejasvi factor, which is helping the RJD. But having said that, let me say that the might of the BJP machinery, including financial muscle, will be at play. So it's not going to be a pushover. I would still say 55-45 in favor of Tejasvi Yadav, and therefore the RJD-led coalition. Congress is again riding largely piggyback on RJD.
Right, sir. And thank you very much, Mr. Madhavan and Ms. Chowdhury, for joining us and sharing your thoughts and perspectives. The big question then remains still the polls. Will the BJP juggernaut once again roll on, or will Tejasvi Yadav and, of course, the principal opposition, will they be able to score more when it comes to these assembly elections? And, of course, but we are still months ahead. But will these announcements that are being made, will they work for the parties, or will there be more skepticism amongst voters with respect to these last-minute pitches, these welfare pitches that are being made by political parties? Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are completely out of time on this edition of Business at 9. Thank you very much for staying tuned with us right here on ET Now. Goodbye.